first question for you is, how did your Duke degree and your Duke experience influence you to become an author?
Well, just first, hi, Renee. It's
Hi.
really nice to see you, and I'm glad to be here. Um, it's funny when I went to Duke, I wasn't planning on being an author. I wanted to be a college professor, and that's why I was getting a PhD. And my subject is religious studies. And so it was while I was there, people kept telling me, "You're such a good writer. I love this paper." Or my professors would say, "This is publishable." And I just thought that being a good writer was sort of part of the deal. That you go to graduate school and you write stuff. And it didn't occur to me that what I put on the page stood out in any particular way. But I started just hearing it over and over and over and over again from my professors in the religion department. And finally, it really just started to seem that that was a gift. So in addition to being a teacher, I began to understand a bit better how the life of writing fit into being a professor. And that's a really great thing, because what happened later on is that I didn't get tenure in my first job. I wound up teaching at a college that I probably should have never taken the position. It was a very conflicted place. And I was on the short stick of a faculty argument. And I wound up having a very non-traditional kind of academic career, and that I became a writer instead. And so it's funny how our vocations sometimes find us, that we don't even know we're good at something until we're in a community that begins to identify the gifts that we actually have. And that's how I really think about my experience at Duke. Certainly, I love teaching, and always, the classroom would always sing. I always felt when I would get to teach, but being a writer is really a special thing, and I'm very happy for the life that I've had and how Duke influenced that.
Great, thank you. And what challenges did you face when writing this book, and how did you overcome them?
Well, every book I write, I face different kinds of challenges. The book on gratitude was written at a time when I was feeling particularly not grateful, and that had been pointed out to me by a friend. He said that I had a distinctive lack of gratitude, which is a really painful thing when someone points it out to you, that you're an ingrate, essentially. And when he pointed it out to me, I realized that of all the different kinds of spiritual practices that I'd written about, I'd never written about gratitude, and that I would never have thought of myself as being very good with gratitude. And so here I was exploring a topic that I didn't know much about. And that's a place of real risk for somebody, especially with a doctorate, who likes to write about things that they feel like they're an expert in. Um, and you decide to write about something you're not good at. And so it involved a lot of learning. I had to, of course, practice what I was writing. I don't like anything I write to ring of inauthenticity. So if I write about gratitude, I wanted to figure out how to incorporate that into my life. And so grateful brought with it a lot of unique challenges. And I'm glad that I did it. I'm really, I think, needed at that particular moment in my life. I was writing it in my late 50s, to write about something that was new and fresh and would teach me how to be a better human being. And so the book wound up doing that.
Okay, great, thank you. And last question, just to get things started off, is what do you want your readers to gain from this book?
Well, I'd like people to know that gratitude isn't all about like sort of hearts and flowers and books with pink covers and with roses on them. And that gratitude is it's actually pretty hard, but it's worthwhile. And so I think that my gratitude book is very non-traditional in that way. I don't come at it saying you must do this and you're going to have a perfect life. It's not kind of like a prosperity gratitude book. But instead it's like, hey, if you're struggling and you don't really know what this is all about and you think that it might be about something that's pretty important, come along and I'll show you what I learned as I grappled with what it meant to have a grateful life.